Every day, nearly 12 million passengers board planes and arrive safely. Jiang Hui's mother did not. 5 years ago, she flew to Malaysia on holiday, but her return flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing vanished with barely a trace. Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 is one of the greatest mysteries of aviation history, and it threw Jiang's life into turmoil. Now he's on his way to Kuala Lumpur and he wants answers.
I'm nervous. I've been nervous every time I've flown since then. But flying to Malaysia is worst of all.
In 2014, Jiang Hui's mother left her apartment to fly to Malaysia with a co-worker. They wanted to get away from the dreary Beijing winter for a few days. She never returned. Only once has Jiang Hui entered the apartment since.
Whenever I saw photos of her or things that belonged to her, I broke down. I just couldn't take it. My brother and I packed everything up and brought it here to her apartment. If I ever found out what happened to the flight, I'll come back and unpack these things. Then I'll be able to say goodbye.
Jiang Hui suffered depression, lost his job, and went deep into debt. He's traveled tens of thousands of kilometers and studied piles of reports and documents, trying to figure out what could have happened.
It gets a lot worse when the anniversary comes around. Recently, I've hardly been able to sleep. But now I'm trying to get by without the antidepressants. They have all these side effects. The flight should actually have taken a direct path from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The plane started in the direction of Beijing in China. But then between Malaysia and Vietnam it abruptly veered left and flew back across the Malaysian peninsula and out over the Andaman Sea. Then it turned again and flew even further south.
At least these are the findings of the official investigation. Eventually, the aircraft would have had to crash into the ocean, but the precise location is still uncertain. Satellite communications show that the aircraft must have been in the air for another 7 hours, possibly on autopilot. What occurred on board during this time is unknown.
I don't even want to think about it. I can't stand it. I get a headache as soon as I start. So I avoid thinking about it and concentrate instead on how we might find the wreckage.
The search for the wreckage was suspended without success. Jiang Hui can't accept that, so he decided to head to Kuala Lumpur. For the 5th anniversary of the plane's disappearance, there's to be a commemoration ceremony. Maybe a government representative will be there. The disappearance of flight MH370 has produced much speculation and even conspiracy theories. The investigators see 3 scenarios as plausible. One is a hijacking, another is a pilot committing suicide, a third is a technical malfunction. Jiang has read everything he can find out about it.
Most people assume that the communication system was turned off manually. But as I see it, that can't be true. When the transponder is turned off, it sends a signal. But according to the official report, there wasn't any. So I believe there was a technical problem.
Jiang's greatest fear is that the truth might never be known. Now a final report has been released, but it's still inconclusive. Without the wreckage, no further findings are likely. Jiang doesn't even know if there's still an agency responsible for matters pertaining to the incident.
It's unbearable. The investigative commission isn't active anymore, but the relatives are still searching. I just can't accept that.
He hopes that he might yet persuade one of the officials to keep up the effort. Jiang's been in Malaysia several times to pressure the authorities there. He feels he's been poorly informed and put off. Now a new government has taken office. The commemorative ceremony was organized by the survivors.
We're not calling it a memorial service. According to Chinese or East Asian custom, you can only speak of remembering after it's been proven that someone's dead. But we haven't found the missing people or the plane. We have no proof they're dead. So we don't talk about a memorial.
Jiang and the others have prepared tea lights, one for each of the 239 people lost.
I'm looking for my mother's name.
Your mother is here.
Yeah, that's it. Jiang Hui. My mother liked green.
Pieces of a wing were found washed up on the coast of Africa, some of the very few pieces of evidence. It's important to the survivors that they observe the anniversary together and in the public eye. They don't want the tragedy to be forgotten. They hold the ceremony in a shopping center, so not only the media and aviation staff witness it, but also any passers-by who ask. They were able to mobilize a local motorcycle club to show solidarity with them. Jiang functions as an unofficial spokesman for the Chinese survivors. 2/3 of the passengers were Chinese citizens.
Even if I'm the only one who came here from China today, I bring greetings for many of the Chinese survivors. I believe if the search is resumed, we stand a good chance of finding the aircraft. The search technology is 10 times better now than it was 5 years ago.
He receives word that Anthony Loke, Malaysia's new transport minister, has just arrived.
A plane has disappeared. How can we just say it's fine that it vanished into thin air?
Jiang consults a fellow campaigner. The search for MH370 has been the most expensive in aviation history. Now the family members have contacted an Australian company that claims it can cover larger areas faster and cheaper using autonomous underwater vehicles. Jiang takes the opportunity to introduce himself to the transport minister. The minister speaks Chinese. That makes things easier.
I'd like an official answer from him in an official talk. Today it's just a matter of making contact and setting up lines of communication. That's the most important thing for now.
The transport minister seems to understand that.
There might be some new technology over the last 12 months. So we are prepared to look at that, and we are willing to discuss with them. If they can convince us that the new technology can be more efficient in terms of the search, then we are more than willing to restart the search.
Jiang couldn't get an appointment with the minister, but he doesn't want to leave anything untried. After all, the new government has made an issue of greater accessibility and transparency. He'll just have to try his luck. Jiang and his friend are admitted to the outer office. The minister is in a meeting. They have to wait nearly half an hour to see him. The minister reaffirms the government is prepared to resume the search. And he promises to have the final report with all its many technical details translated into Chinese.
I feel much better than I did when I arrived. I was afraid it would turn out like it always has, a complete waste of time. But this time I got specific commitments. I'm very happy about that.
But neither Jiang Hui nor any of the other survivors know if anything will come of those commitments. Even so, he feels the trip was worth making. He's done what he could. All he wants is to find out how his mother died.